وَالْقِلَّةَ عَدَدِنَا, and we are so few. What? 10% of Muslims? And that also Muslims are themselves perhaps a quarter of the world. So it is 10% of the quarter, that is 2% of the world population. He says we've got to complain to Allah about this. We've got to increase our numbers. قِلَّةَ عَدَدِنَا وَشِدَّةَ الْفِتَنَ بِنَا. And how intense is the dissension in amongst Muslims. وَتَظَاهُرَ الزَّمَانِ عَلَيْنَا. And everybody is against us. And isn't that true for us today? That all the countries, all the major countries are against the Shiite governments and the Shiite cause. But what is amazing about all this final paragraph is, as we read it, we see that it applies to us today. And yet it was written 12 centuries ago. As I said, and this is why I gave you the history of it, it was found by the second Naib. So it was found roughly, as it is put, the date put on that dua is 280 AH. We are already in 1426, so you can see how many years ago words were written by him, which we can recite today with absolute accuracy, believing they apply to us as their circumstances today are. That is then dua iftitah. But this dua that you also recite, and recite so regularly, I am pleased to say, is the dua Ilahi adhum al-bala wa barih al-khifa wa nkashaf al-ghita wa nqata' al-raja. That dua is taught by the 12th Imam alayhi salam. This is why I started saying there is no shortage of the teachings of the Imam alayhi salam. And ghaiba has been no impediment. This dua, Ilahi adhum al-bala, was taught to Abu al-Hasan Muhammad ibn Layth. And it is set out in Qanuz al-Najat by Sheikh Tabrisi. He sets it out authentically, and is then set out in various books of ours. And the dua, it is said, was taught in these circumstances. Ibn Layth was sought by the government of the time. The governor was after him. He ran from Hilla to Karbala to Najaf, could find no peace. Wherever he went, he found spies after him, wanting to arrest him. Ultimately, he ran to Baghdad. When he ran to Baghdad, where does he hide in Baghdad? He decided he will hide in a grave near Kadamay. So he gets into a graveyard, digs that grave, and hides himself in a grave. Can you see how desperate the person must have been? He has no refuge in the world. He has no place where he can live peacefully and safely. And hence, he looks for refuge in a grave, and digs his own grave and hides himself there. When occasion arises, he moves out from there and goes out to buy a few fruits. He only buys fruits because he can't cook anything. Bananas or whatever he can get. He buys it, gets into the grave again, hides himself, eats in the grave, and all he does is worship Allah and call the 12th Imam alayhi salam regularly. That was his constant appeal to the 12th Imam alayhi salam. And he reports that once, when he was in that course of supplication, he became so exhausted that he became drowsy and fell off to sleep. When he is asleep, he suddenly sees a dream, and in the dream he sees a youthful, brilliant personality who turns around to him and says, "Oh Ibn Layth, you are in trouble, that you are hiding in a grave." He says, "Yes, I'm in grave trouble and I do not find relief at all." So he says, "Recite this dua." And he starts teaching him this dua, Ilahi adhum al-bala, and it goes on to the end. But what Ibn Abu Layth says is that I found that when he came to Ya Sahib al-Zaman, al-Ghawth, 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 he pointed at himself. When it came to Sahib al-Zaman, he pointed to himself. So Abu Layth said, "My Lord, this person points at himself when he refers to Imam Sahib al-Zaman. How authentic must this be?" But he learns that dua straight away. And immediately after the dream, his eyes open. And he keeps reciting that dua for the rest of the night till Fajr. And when it's breakfast time, again he comes out of his grave, going to the same vendor fruit vendor from whom he used to buy his fruits. And as he was buying his fruits, somebody comes to him and says, "Aren't you Muhammad ibn Layth?" And he gets frightened totally, because he was sure that this is a spy. So he ignores him. He ignores him, does not buy fruits, and goes in the other direction. As he goes in the other direction, there are two other people who are coming from the opposite side and says, "Aren't you Ibn Layth, Muhammad ibn Layth?" So he thought that there is a spy behind me, there are these people in front of me, I'm going to get caught. But why am I worried? Did I not meet that personality last night? And did he not point at himself when he was invoking Sahibul Zaman? And have I not invoked my Sahibul Zaman? What am I worried about? With his help, I will tell them that I am that. He invokes, he says, "Ya Sahibul Zaman adrikni," goes to them and says, "Yes, I am Muhammad ibn Layth." And he says, "Well, the governor is looking for you." He says, "Very well, let's go to the governor." He goes to the governor, and lo and behold, when he comes to the governor, he says, "I've been looking for you for a number of days, but today I have called you for a different reason." So he says, "Well, tell me the reason why you have got me here." "Because I was in my own business, I was in my own affairs, your people have disturbed me and brought me here before you." He says, "I want to know, to whom did you complain against me last night?" So Muhammad ibn Layth now does not know how to react to this, and says very cleverly, says, "Why do you want to know? Why do you want to know whom I complained against you last night? And what is my cause for complaining against you? Tell me those things first." He says, "Well, I have seen a dream last night. And I've seen a dream from your Mawla," because obviously he did not believe in the Mawla. About time he did, after seeing that dream, says, "I've been warned by your Mawla that if I do not release you today, I would be in serious trouble and I could lose my governorship. So I have called you to tell you that I have no problem with you. Insofar as I am concerned, you are a free man, you can do what you like, and these people whom I have appointed to look for you and to arrest you, I've already issued instructions that nobody should arrest you. The instructions given were only to bring you not under arrest, but to bring you as a free man as you were, and so that I can tell you myself, so that your Mawla hears me telling you that I, as far as I am concerned, I have released you and I have no enmity against you and I have no claims against you." You can see what the effect of that dua is. And that dua has repeatedly been used by a number of people. The one other reason why I selected that dua is that our enemies today, within ourselves, this is the part that hurts me, our own Shias from within, maybe taught by others also, are turning around and telling us we should not recite this dua because there is shirk in it. And when I hear this complaint that there is of shirk against us, I know exactly what source that complaint must be coming from. Because there is one source that just has one complaint against us, that we do shirk in practically everything, when with Allah's grace we follow those hujaj who have always kept us away from shirk. I just discussed dua iftitah, which is complete proof against shirk. And there is no shirk in it. The passage they refer to is when you say, "Ya Muhammadu ya Ali, Ya Aliyu ya Muhammad, ikfiyani fa innakuma kafiyan, wansurani fa innakuma nasiran." So we say, "Ya Muhammad ya Ali," you see, you bring in Ali straight away. And you say, "Ikfiyani, you too be sufficient for me, because you are sufficient for me. Wansurani, and you too help me. Wansurani fa innakuma nasiran, because you two are enough helpers for me. Fa innakuma kafiyan, wansurani fa innakuma nasiran." So the allegation is, you see, you are saying that Ali and Muhammad are enough for you. Where is Allah then? See, you are abandoning Allah and picking on Ali and Muhammad, and then comes, "Ya Mawla ya Sahib al-Zaman, al-Ghawth, al-Ghawth, al-Ghawth." But that is a very stupid, if I may say so, criticism. Because it is so biased, it is so absolutely unworthy of being called a logical criticism. Because the dua starts with Allah. They say, where is Allah? Allah is at the very beginning of that dua, in the middle of that dua, and right at the end of that dua. It says, Ilahi adhumal bala. Don't they see? We are saying, oh Allah, I have got this great trial on me. وَكَشَفَ الْغِطَى. And the curtain has been torn. قَطَعَ الرَّجَى. And my hopes are shattered. All this is said to Allah. It is not said to either Muhammad or Ali, alayhim as-salam. And then the dua goes on and says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, ulil amri alladhina faradta alayna ta'atahum. Those words are vital. He says, oh Allah, you send blessings. It's not us. Allahumma salli ala, you send blessings on Muhammad and his progeny. Ulil amri alladhina, these are people whom you have given authority. It is not us giving authority. And they are not gods. They are not sufficient by themselves. They are people who have been made sufficient by Allah. Ulil amri alladhina faradta alayna ta'atahum. You have made it incumbent upon us to obey them and to accept their orders and commands and follow them. Faradta alayna ta'atahum. Wa arraftana bidhalika manzilatahum. And in that process, you have acquainted us. You have given us the knowledge of their status before you. Now, because these people have this status, and that is what the dua says in express words, for God's sake. If that dua is fully read, instead of picking one word here and there and criticizing it, that is exactly what the dua says. And then, in view of the fact that they are ulil amr, and they have this status with Allah, we say to them that as you have this status, you are enough for us, because with the status you have with Allah, you can carry out all this for us and get our wishes fulfilled. That is the import of that dua if it is read as a whole, picking up just one phrase. So there is no reason to listen to it. Sheikh Tabrasi would be the last person to write a dua for us and teach us if it had shirk in it. Sheikh Abbas Kummi, who wrote Mafatihul Jinan, would be the last person to be a party to a dua which has shirk in it. All our ulamas have accepted it as authentic and know precisely what is contained in it. Because shirk is exactly what that family has done to avoid in all respects. Yazid was full of shirk. And it is when he was seeking bay'ah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, despite being a polytheist himself, is why Imam Hussein alayhi salam refused to make bay'ah. And indeed, when that time came, when he had to sacrifice his life in order to save Islam, he decided he will not go to Karbala alone. He will take his ladies with him also. And in the ladies, he first pits his sister Zainab alayha salam, and makes Zainab the leader of all the ladies who are coming to Karbala. And indeed, when Zainab alayha salam was selected for this job, she was selected because in her veins ran the blood of Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha, the very blood with which the seeds of Islam were sown by the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his progeny, was the blood that was required in Karbala. And so Bibi Zainab alayha salam was taken, but she did not go alone. With her are her two sons, Aun and Muhammad. And on the eve of Ashura, Bibi Zainab alayha salam interrupts her prayers, gathers Aun and Muhammad and says, you know what is tomorrow for. You have heard your parents tell you, we have repeatedly said to you, that is the day of sacrifice. That is the day Hussein alayhi salam will give his life. What are you people then? What is your value? What is important for you is that you should die before Hussein alayhi salam gives his life. You should die even before Akbar gives his life, before Asghar gives his life. You should precede them, so that when I meet Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha, I am not ashamed to meet my mother. You are not ashamed to meet your grandfather. Both your maternal grandfather and paternal grandfather, both of them were warriors. She inspires them into fighting. They were both well-known warriors. You must fight as they fought. And they turn around to the mother and say, oh mother, do not be worried on that count at all. tomorrow we will fight, and we will fight in such a way that these infidels will come to remember Ali ibn Abi Talib and Ja'far al-Tayyar and the kind of battles they fought for Islam. That will be the valor and vigor with which we will fight tomorrow. Bibi Zainab alayhi salam gets pleased with that answer, then turns around to them and says, you see how thirsty everybody is. You see how thirsty Sakina is. You see how thirsty Asghar is. Make sure that when you fight and when you come to the river, you do not drink one drop of water. It should not be said that Aun and Muhammad drank water before Sakina got water. They joined their hands to their mother and said, Mother, our promise to you that we will die thirsty tomorrow. We will not take a drop of water and we will retain your name. Indeed, when the next day came and Aun and Muhammad go to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and seek leave to go to the battlefield, Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, Aun and Muhammad, I will not allow you to go and fight. You are not going to get my leave. And they plead to him, and then he turns around to them and says, you do not know what it is for a loving uncle to give leave to a loving nephew to go and die in the battlefield. If you asked for something else, your uncle would grant it, but not permission to die. Go and treat your mother. Be well with your mother. Indeed, then Bibi Zainab alayhi salam comes forth herself and says, Hussein, do not spare these nephews for me. If Akbar is going to be killed today, Aun and Muhammad must be killed before them, must precede them. What face will I show my mother on the day of judgment? When Hussein hears this, allows them to go and fight, and they really fight as valiants did, keeping their words to their mother. Indeed, they first attack the tent of Umar ibn Sa'ad, la'natullah alayh. He runs away from his tent. They then run after this army. Indeed, a stage comes when both Aun and Muhammad are at the bank of Furat.